Our next section of football fundamentals deals with passes, and our first passing fundamental tells us a player who is eligible at the start of the down remains eligible throughout the down. There is nothing an eligible receiver can do during the down that would make him ineligible to catch a legal forward pass. If he steps out of bounds and returns to the field, you may have illegal participation, but he can still go downfield and catch or otherwise touch a legal forward pass. If he is guilty of illegal motion or part of an illegal shift, he can still catch a legal forward pass. If he commits pass interference, he can still catch a legal forward pass. You will almost certainly have another foul or maybe two, but an eligible receiver can always continue downfield and can always catch a legal forward pass. If he is eligible at the snap, he can go downfield, catch a legal forward pass, and not be guilty of illegal touching. The implications of this fundamental. Players are eligible by position and number. You have to identify all eligible receivers at the time of the snap so you can rule on ineligibles downfield and illegal touching. Our next passing fundamental says ineligible A players may not advance beyond the expanded neutral zone on a legal forward pass before a legal forward pass that crosses the neutral zone is in flight. If B touches the pass in or behind the neutral zone, this restriction is terminated. So you should be able to tell by now how many times legal forward pass is used in this fundamental that the first thing we need to keep in mind is that this restriction on ineligibles applies only to legal forward passes, and more specifically, those legal forward passes that cross the neutral zone. There are no restrictions on ineligible receivers moving downfield on backwards passes, illegal forward passes, or passes that do not cross the neutral zone, such as a screen pass. Ineligibles can move downfield on these passes at any time. But when a legal forward pass does in fact cross the expanded neutral zone, ineligible receivers cannot begin to move downfield until the pass is thrown. If an ineligible receiver gets 2 or 3 yards downfield at any time prior to the pass being thrown, he's considered to be downfield. It doesn't matter that he gets back to the line of scrimmage before the pass is thrown. He cannot be, quote, downfield at any point prior to the pass being thrown. However, the restriction to move downfield is lifted if any B player touches the legal forward pass in or behind the neutral zone. This means that if an ineligible receiver is downfield, beyond the expanded neutral zone, at the time the legal forward pass is tipped by B in or behind the neutral zone, or moves downfield after the ball is tipped by B, there is no foul. The implications of this fundamental. Officials who see a legal forward pass tipped by B in or behind the neutral zone should use signal 11 to indicate the ball was tipped legally. You must be aware of an ineligible receiver downfield beginning with the snap. The restrictions on moving downfield begin then and continue until the ball's in flight. Pre-snap, identify where the expanded neutral zone ends on the defensive side of the ball. And finally, again, these restrictions on ineligibles downfield apply only to legal forward passes that cross the neutral zone. Not the expanded neutral zone, but the neutral zone. From a mechanics standpoint, there could be times when you have a flag for an ineligible downfield, but it gets waved off due to the fact that the pass did not cross the neutral zone, the ball was tipped by B behind the neutral zone, or the pass was backwards. And this is okay in moderation, as you may not have the proper view of what's happening in the backfield. But in these situations, it is crucial for the crew to communicate all of the facts so that they can adjudicate the play correctly. Our next passing fundamental tells us a handed ball is not a pass. The definition of a pass is a ball in flight. During a pass, a player in possession of the ball throws it so that at some point the ball is not in possession of any player, nor in contact with any player. There is a point when no player is touching the ball. On the other end of the spectrum is a handed ball. When the ball is handed from one player to another, whether forward or backward, the ball is always in contact with a player, whether it be the player handing the ball, the player taking the ball, or for a small fraction of time, both players. This is an important distinction because passing rules do not apply to balls that are handed from one player to another. There are no eligibility rules, no pass interference rules, no distinction between forwards or backwards, complete or incomplete, or legal illegal. There are no concerns as to whether a passer is behind or beyond the line of scrimmage when the ball is handed. There is, however, a rule against forward handing beyond the line of scrimmage. And there are no opportunities for an illegal touching call when a ball is handed. When a handed ball becomes loose and bounds forward, it is a fumble and not an incomplete forward pass. The implications of this fundamental. You have to be able to see the ball the entire way in order to determine whether a ball is being handed or passed. If a ball is pitched forward from the player who receives the direct snap to a teammate running in front of him, it's a pass. If the ball hits the ground in that situation, the pass is incomplete. If the receiver catches the pitch, you have a forward pass completed behind the neutral zone and one that did not cross the neutral zone. Our next passing fundamental tells us any pass in flight may be batted in any direction by an eligible receiver unless it is a backwards pass batted forward by the passing team. First, who are the eligible receivers? Well, every B player is eligible. A players are eligible by both position and number. Eligible A players are those numbered 0 through 49 and 80 to 99 who are either on the ends of their line or in the backfield. However, all A players become eligible once any B player touches the pass. Only those players may bat a pass in flight. And this is any pass, not just legal forward passes that cross the neutral zone. It includes backward passes, illegal forward passes, and passes that do not cross the neutral zone. There is, of course, an exception. No A player, eligible or not, may bat a backwards pass forward. It can be batted backwards by A, but cannot be batted forwards. And here's what this looks like. A pass is in the air. Any B player can bat the ball in any direction. Once they do, all ineligible A players become eligible, and therefore, any player on either team may continue to bat the ball in any direction. Unless, of course, it was a backwards pass that had not yet ended. In that case, all A players may bat the ball in any direction but forward. A pass is in the air. Any eligible A player may bat the ball in any direction except for a backwards pass, which cannot be batted forward. The pass can continue to be batted by any eligible A player or by any B player until the pass ends. Once B touches the pass, any A player can bat the ball in any direction, unless it's a backwards pass. A pass ends when any player gains possession. A legal forward pass falls incomplete, or the ball becomes dead by rule. Until then, the ball may be batted in certain situations. The implications of this fundamental. Any pass in flight can be batted in any direction, forwards, backwards, sideways, higher up into the air, by any B player, any eligible A player, or, once B touches the pass, any ineligible A player. The exception is that A cannot bat a backwards pass forward. So you must identify eligible receivers at the snap and determine whether the pass is forward or backward. A backwards pass is one that has its initial direction parallel or backwards in comparison to the line of scrimmage. It remains backwards until the pass ends. A backwards pass ends when a player catches or recovers it, or the ball goes out of bounds. So until the backwards pass ends, a backwards pass remains a backwards pass, no matter where the ball ends up. Therefore, the forward batting restriction on A remains in place until the backward pass ends. Our final passing fundamental says a forward pass interference foul can only occur beyond the neutral zone. For there to be pass interference, or PI, the foul must occur beyond the neutral zone. There are many variables to the PI rules which are beyond the scope of this fundamental. But for now, know that you may have a foul in or behind the neutral zone that mirrors the definition of pass interference, but it cannot be called pass interference. However, it could be a foul, likely holding, but it can't be pass interference. PI is the restriction by either A or B that prevents an opponent from advancing to a pass in order to make a play on it. For the purposes of this fundamental, a restriction of an opponent beyond the neutral zone would fall under the rules covering illegal blocks, illegal use of hands, or any other rule covering contact between two opponents. Those fouls, behind the line of scrimmage, against an eligible receiver that would be considered PI if they were to occur beyond the neutral zone, still have to be adjudicated, but they cannot be PI. The implications of this rule. The penalties for pass interference are of the 15-yard variety, which are severe in high school football. Fouls that mirror PI but occur behind the line of scrimmage are typically of the 5 and 10-yard variety.